What were your thoughts when you heard about James Gunn and Peter Safran taking over DCU?
My gut reaction was like, this is cool.
Okay, I'm with that. I'm not respectfully, but okay. I respect it.
Like, I personally was a fan of the Suicide Squad movie that came out last year, James Gunn's movie, or first DC movie. Well, it was his first.
For DC, I think, yeah.
Yeah. I liked it. It wasn't how I would have done a Suicide Squad movie, but I enjoyed it for what it was. And just seeing him, like, how he seems to really, like, enjoy the source material. And I'm not just talking about Suicide Squad or DC. I mean, like...
Just comics?
Comics. Like, going back to when the first Guardians of the Galaxy was coming out, he just... And, like, all of the details and shit, because he was saying, like, yeah, I was going, like, too deep into it, looking for, like, creating coordinates for all of these locations that they go to. Mm-hmm. And it's like, I really like that passion, that dedication.
Apparently, James Gunn put, like, hidden messages within the coordinates.
You see, that's cool.
Yeah.
Like, I really like that. And to have someone that detail-oriented and who seemingly, like, enjoys the actual material, isn't just a suit looking at money numbers behind the scenes. Mm-hmm. I think that is really promising. He just seems like a genuine creative. So I think... And he's teamed with his producer, like, partner. So, what?
No, I'm with you on that. I'm with you.
Okay. And so it's like, okay, you got the creative side with Gunn, and then the producer side with Safran. Safran or Saffron?
I've been saying Safran.
Okay, Safran.
So if we're pronouncing it wrong, we apologize.
Yeah. And it's like, okay, that's cool. They've been having such a hard time finding one person to do this job. So they split it into two. So now they're both managing their respective talents. And I don't know. It seems very promising. Okay. That is my thoughts on it. What about you?
My initial thoughts on it seemed random as hell to me.
Even after Peacemaker and Suicide Squad.
Yeah, because even like with Peacemaker, it was like... So they did Suicide Squad, and it was like, okay... I had my own personal feelings about that. I enjoyed the movie, but it was still kind of like there was something a little bit formulaic to me in it. It seemed like every character that had a weird thing, they would initially come across as an asshole or as a weirdo, and then later on, like, yeah, the reason I'm like this is because X, Y, Z, and then it's really sympathetic and stuff, and it was just like, oh, okay, but like I get it though, and I think he's a good filmmaker. I don't dislike his movies. It was just like, I wasn't really feeling how they did Suicide Squad exactly. But it was a fun movie. And then like Peacemaker, like it seemed weird to me. Like why are they doing a Peacemaker show? It just seemed kind of random. Mm-hmm. You have like this really obscure character and like what's the big deal here? But then like spoilers
for Peacemaker.
And
Spoilers for Peacemaker and Black Adam.
Ahead. And if you want to avoid the spoilers, click to this time.
Well, no, it's not a video.
No, but like if it's on YouTube. Not like it. Spoilers. Just put it on the YouTube one. Bro, shut the fuck up. This is an audiobook.
Just don't spoil Black Adam.
Well, okay. Well, certain, God, spoilers. I apologize, but certain characters just got like a spinoff, and then it's like, oh, they might appear in like certain other things, other DCU like franchises, and it's like, why was Suicide Squad and Peacemaker the way to do that through? It seemed like okay, like. And again, like, I think it's like, oh, Gunn is like a really good filmmaker, and like you said, the whole creative thing. So it's like, for some reason, it seemed like DC was just kind of like after him or his style for a long time. Mm-hmm. Like after Guardians of the Galaxy, because when they were doing their Suicide Squad, they edited it in a way where it seemed more in line with Guardians of the Galaxy. And then it was that whole controversy with James Gunn. And then, okay, well, I got fired from Marvel Disney, so I'm doing a Suicide Squad. But it's like you have the director of Guardians of the Galaxy doing the Suicide Squad movie when the first Suicide Squad movie was supposed to low key be like Guardians of the Galaxy. So it's like you keep bringing them back, and then da 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 da. And I hadn't heard of Peter Safran before, but I checked out his filmography, and he had directed, or not directed, but had produced a lot of like those Conjuring spinoff movies, and I think he had worked with James Gunn before, and also I think he was a producer on the Aquaman, and will be on the second one, or is on the second one. So it's like, okay, that's the kind of tie-in with Juan and with DC and everything. But it was, I guess the main thing was just like, I'm not a diehard James Gunn fan, so that's why it seemed a little what's the word? A little random to me, because it's like, okay, the guy that directed the Suicide Squad is gonna be running DC, and I was thinking, obviously I'm a Snyder fan, so obviously Snyder was kind of in my like top 3 to lead the DCU. And then the way The Rock has been lately, like he's been growing like a business empire, and he's been trying to do Black Adam since 2008, and one of his Instagram posts from a few years ago was saying like, we had conversations with the people at DC because we want the movies to be like fun and enjoyable and da da da. And it was like, yeah, okay, why is he having those kinds of conversations? That seems like a Kevin Feige-esque thing. And then everything that's been going on with Black Adam and how successful it is, and the hype over this movie, and he got spoilers for Black Adam again. No, I'm not gonna say it, but like he's doing things, and it's like, okay, it seems like the way that he was doing it, like for this movie, like maybe he could be just the DC Kevin Feige, because it seems like he has a lot of pull because of his status and his popularity and stuff. So it was like Snyder, Dwayne Johnson, and I think there was someone else. Oh, like David S. Goyer, because he's been working on DC movies and comic book movies for a long time. So I was like, maybe one of them or all 3 of them should be in charge.
So the Dwayne Johnson, I want to comment on, because he did give that like I don't know if it was an interview or if he just posted online about like what he was aiming for, like with his future Black Adam movies, or the future of what he wants DC to go.
The hierarchy of the DCU is going to change. It's like, golly.
The thing that puts me off about The Rock taking over, or had potentially taken over if James Gunn didn't come in, was he always seemed really biased in like what movies he wanted.
Yeah.
Like, I want Black Adam to go up against the Suicide Squad. I want him to go up against Superman and the Justice League. And it's like, okay, what about everyone else though?
Yeah.
And like, yeah, you brought back Superman, but your ex-wife is his manager. Like, okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just all seemed very like, how can this benefit me?
Yeah.
And what movies can I be in, or can I be attached to? It never seemed like, what do DC fans... He never seemed like the champion of DC fans, or DC Comics even.
And to piggyback off your point, when he was saying all that, the hierarchy of the DC universe is going to change, it really sounded like the DC universe is now going to center around me and Black Adam.
Exactly.
So like, I was like, I feel weird about that, but I'm going to see the movie and stuff.
That, and while I do like Black Adam, it was an enjoyable movie. It was better than what I thought it would be. I don't want that movie to be like the poster child for the DC universe going forward. So I'm happy he isn't in charge, but I do want him in DC because I liked the Black Adam character. I do. At the end of the day, I do like Dwayne Johnson's involvement because he is a very charismatic and likable guy, and I like him as Black Adam, but I don't want him leading because I feel like it would just be, what can I do next?
Yeah.
So that is, So that's my opinion on The Rock and DC right now. But the big question in my mind right now is what is going to be James Gunn's first move? and when I say James Gunn, I of course mean the duo, but I'm just gonna refer to James Gunn because he's the creative here.
Yeah.
What is gonna be his first quote unquote DCU movie? Because people, you could argue the Suicide Squad is, but like I'm referring to like his first move as the leader of DC now. What is it gonna be? And I'm wondering if it's gonna be Man of Steel 2. Because that, in my mind, that would make so much sense. Because that's what kicked off the first DCEU.
Yeah.
Like 10 years ago.
I hope it is, man.
I've
been yearning for Man of Steel too.
Like, I feel like that would be the smartest move for them. At least, like, as of right now, in November, haven't seen The Flash yet. It's not out yet. November 2022. I just feel like Man of Steel 2 would be the refresher.
Do you think it would be beneficial for James Gunn to also direct Man of Steel 2, or would you just have it be like that's the first thing that's going to happen in this new DCU, but you have a different director?
Correct, different director. Because I am assuming going forward, he is not going to place himself in a lot of these directorial roles. I might be proven wrong. I'm just assuming he's taking Kevin Feige's approach where like you are the puppet master and all your, this sounds bad saying it like this. You're the mastermind and you're getting directors to execute for you.
Yeah.
So I would hope he does not direct a Superman movie because I don't really see it working.
Do you think in general he could do a good Superman movie?
No.
Ooh.
Okay, are we talking about Henry Cavill? Superman? I'm just going to say no. I can't see him making a Superman movie. Can you?
Not even with Henry Cavill?
No.
Just not at all?
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like it'll be one of those movies where like, yeah, it's good, but kind of like, the Suicide Squad movie. It was a good movie, but it's not, I wouldn't have done it like that, and so it's kind of hard for me to like be 100% on board with it.
I'm fine with him directing in the DCU, but I would
give him like all the weird obscure characters.
Sure, because he's good at making them likable.
Yeah.
But at the very least, like you can't really deny that much. He's really good at creating characters that audiences like, even though they're like really obscure, abstract, strange. I mean, every Guardians of the Galaxy character is a good example of that. But as for who... Okay, so let's say they are going to lead with Man of Steel 2.
Okay.
What would the goals for that movie be? It would have to be like to reinstate Henry Cavill as like the Superman. Like clear up any doubt, any like public image that he currently has right now with just the best iteration of Superman. That's what they need.
Yeah.
They really need him to be the
They need that more
example.
classic version of Superman.
Yeah. They do. And it sounds like everyone's on the same page as of right now. And it would even work because like at the end of the Snyder Cut of Justice League, like he's kind of there. He's at the classic Superman, more or less. It wouldn't be a big jump.
Yeah.
So who would the directing question, going back to that, Snyder's out.
Yeah.
I don't even think that's an option for anyone right now.
Yeah, and that's a shame, but yeah.
Who would you get to direct this sequel?
For me, it's a tie between Matthew Vaughn and Christopher McQuarrie.
Oh yes, I think McQuarrie would be like an insane land if they got him. That would be like amazing.
It would be good.
I don't, as much as I enjoy Matthew Vaughn's movies, I really don't like how he does CG. All the CG in his movies looks so fake. And
that's really weird to me.
Because like
take someone like Denis Villeneuve, and that CGI just is
in all of his
amazing.
movies.
Yeah,
it all looks good, and I kind of wonder if it just comes down to like how well a director knows how to work with like CG artists or whoever the head of the CG teams is, like, is it that like it's an afterthought for some directors and some it's like the first thing they think about? Maybe it's that, but I personally wouldn't want Matthew Vaughn to do it just because of the CG.
Yeah.
I feel like it would just look just like the Kingsman, and that's not the look I want. As much as I enjoy two of those movies. Yeah, Christopher McQuarrie, that'd be sick. That'd be amazing.
Yeah.
And you got me thinking about Mission Impossible now. Do you think Brad Bird would do it? Because like he's done superheroes and he's done action.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with Brad Bird as a director, but I will say when it was like, oh, he's gonna direct Mission Impossible 4, I was like, the guy from The Incredibles? But both movies were really good, but I still am like, maybe not a Superman movie. It doesn't, maybe a member from like the Superman family movie. I would maybe like do that, but like a spin-off type movie, but no, I don't think, not for like the main guy.
Okay.
Maybe if I've seen more of his work and it's more along the lines of Mission Impossible and stuff like that, but I'm like, I don't know, something about it just seems kind of, I don't want to say soft, but it's like, it's not quite there for me.
And another thing I think this movie should really capitalize or like try to do is just give us a really, really solid Superman movie. Like, don't try to do any gimmicks. And I saying it like that might be mean, but like Zack Snyder and the whole like modern, what would happen if Superman is in real life? How would people react? Don't do that. Just focus on giving us a like 100% straight up Superman superhero movie where like he's going up against super size odds, crazy characters, cool places. It would be cool if he doesn't just stay on Earth the whole time.
Yeah.
Like have him do, because he's like so powerful. He can fly anywhere he wants to.
In the universe.
Like capitalize on that.
Yeah.
Go somewhere with that. I feel like they really need to remind the public why Superman is like the superhero, because most people don't view him as such anymore.
Maybe what you could do in this hypothetical movie is it starts off and maybe it's like you see the sun rising over Metropolis. It's like a quasi-futuristic like golden city and all of this kind of shit, and you hear it's a montage of, you don't see Superman doing all these saves, but you see this this red blur like and like cats are being safe removed from trees, like bank robberies are being stopped immediately, and it's while this montage is going on, it's like a few news reports talking about like, oh, Superman did this today, and like Superman did that. Like some of them are from Lois Lane, Cat Grants, and all these, you can get like the cameos like that. And like part of this montage, you see him in space interacting with alien races, or maybe at one point there's like a moon that's like too close to a planet, so like the gravitational force is being pushed off, so Superman has to like push the moon away, just stuff like that. But smiling and waving at everybody, and then comes back to Earth, and like he's like Perry's like where the hell is Kent? And like right when he is finished saving that planet from several galaxies away, like where the hell is Kent? Like he walks in still straightening his tie, like clothes are kind of like messy, and it's like that, it's like a little bit more fun, and da. Main villain is like Metallo or something like that, Metallo and Lex or something like that, and it's just okay, this is a classic Superman movie. Yeah, we know that he does all of this stuff, but it's like we still get to like have this him versus the classic villain, and blah blah blah.
I would also find it interesting. I don't know how they would do this, because this would basically hinge on where the DCU goes next, but it would be really interesting if it doesn't have the typical formula of a superhero movie. And this might be, this might be biting off too much that this movie can handle, that this movie can chew, because I don't want it to basically try to accomplish two things at once or more things at once, because I do think it just needs to be a good Superman movie. But the reason I bring this up is like we are so deep into superhero movies at this point. I do think it, even if it is like a good Superman movie, if it follows the same formula that all these superhero movies tend to, I don't know if that would be enough at this point, because I feel like it would just be written off as another cookie cutter superhero movie, but this time it's Superman. So it makes me wonder, like, how can it handle itself in such a way where it wraps up and people not only feel like a renewed interest in Superman, but a renewed interest in superhero movies. That's a lot of weight and responsibility that I don't know this movie could hold, but that would be the best possibility, the best outcome we could ask for, I feel.
What a fascinating question that is. Like, for real, because I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, no. Like, it would need to take a look at the formula, at the pattern of events that seem to unfold in all these common superhero movies, and be like, okay, how can we circumvent this? How can we rework this? How can we make not only Superman feel fresh, but this genre feel fresh? Because it is starting to get stale. As a superhero fan, hot off the heels of some Disney Plus shows.
Well, She-Hulk. is that the one you're talking about?
Oh, She-Hulk came out? Oh, that's cool. I should give that a watch.
I was talking about Moon Knight.
Actually, Moon Knight is an interesting example, because while it did follow like the superhero trend of like the big battle at the end, the main character was different enough to make me be really interested in it. Like the multiple personalities and the like fainting and the Egyptian gods, like I liked
that was pretty cool.
I liked all of that, and I'm not saying I'm of course not saying that's what Superman needs to do, but I do feel like Man of Steel 2 needs to find something that the Batman found. Man of Steel 2 needs to find, because the Batman, in my opinion, it didn't feel like a superhero movie, and it's all the better for it. Yeah, that's my 2 cents on the DCU.
That's interesting, yeah. Because I'm trying to think, like, yeah, how could, like, what the Batman did and how would Superman do it? Like, wow.
Yeah, the Batman really found its identity by just taking a look at, like, what makes Batman Batman. Yeah. And
because one thing I'm thinking of is, like, what if this movie did, and kind of in a way, like what the Nolan trilogy was trying to do, was like they were saying, like, we wanted to focus on Bruce Wayne, not Batman. What if they did that with Superman, or with Clark Kent rather? They have it where it's not like, oh, my true identity is Superman, my true identity is Clark Kent, but Superman is just something that I do. Which if I remember correctly, I think the Dean Cain Superman said that in Lois and Clark, in the Adventures of Lois and Clark. Yeah, like Superman is just something I do. So it's like, okay, what if they did it like that?
Yeah, that might make him a lot more relatable to people, because a lot of the common criticisms I hear is that Superman's so unrelatable because he's the most powerful.
If they do it like that, like who I am is Clark, but Superman is what I do. Like that would be a really good way to, like you said, have it be more relatable. And it's like, you really focus on, even though he's an alien, you focus on how human he actually is. Because you could even have it where some of the times he's, quote unquote, saving someone, it might just be as Clark Kent. Like maybe he's like walking down the street, he sees like a little kid crying or something like that, and he just like sits with her, consoles her, like lets her like talk about what's bothering her, and like he maybe gives some advice, like a man I knew once said, like, da 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 da, and like he's talking about something that Jonathan Kent had told him when he was a kid, and it's like, and after this interaction, it made her day. She feels a lot better, and like she has even just a better outlook on life now. So it's, even though it's just a short conversation, and even though we don't immediately see this, but we know like this was a life altering conversation for her, even if she doesn't necessarily realize it, even if Clark Kent doesn't necessarily realize it, just because at his essence is that he's a good person, and I don't just want to save the earth from alien threats. Like, I want to inspire people to be better, to be the best version of themselves.
He is like the opposite of Bruce Wayne in Matt Reeves' The Batman, where that Batman was inspiring more fear and hatred. This Superman is inspiring more hope and joy.
Yeah.
And really just capitalize on that.
Yeah.
And in a weird way, I feel like if whoever they get to write and direct this new Man of Steel movie, I feel like they should take a good long look at what the Batman did and use that. And I'm not saying to do the Batman. I'm saying like, how did they approach this world and character? Because the way they did it in the Batman was just so good. If they can approach Superman in that way, I think that would be phenomenal. Yeah.
I like that, because like, I like that idea. Yeah. Going back to the Superman thing, it's like the major differences that he makes are, it's literally like with his words and or with his writing. But you know, because of Superman, you still have those really cool action sequences with like Lobo, or with like a Brainiac fleet of robots just coming down. But it's like, yes, he saved the world, but like the way that he makes a difference is just by his interactions with people. And I think that would be really interesting.
I think that would be sick. So yeah, that is just our idea on the first DCU movie. What would you lead towards? Because I read a rumor, and yeah, this is just a rumor, but I read that one of the ideas that James Gunn has for the DCU as of right now was making Amanda Waller basically the Thanos character of the universe, where like she is like this constant force in all of the movies in one way or another, to the point where it just kind of builds and builds and builds to some climax. And I find that really interesting, actually.
That is really interesting, yeah.
Because Viola Davis seems to be down.
Yeah.
So I dig that. I think that's going back to the whole like different superhero patterns, formulas. I think that's different enough from Marvel, whatever Marvel is cooking up. Because Marvel's doing like the whole Kang the Conqueror Secret Wars right now.
Yeah.
So having this like sort of political, like behind the scenes villain that is the thing that's kind of connecting all of these franchises, I think that's very interesting.
That would be dope too if they, I guess spoilers kind of for Justice League Unlimited, but because part of one of those storylines, like it basically was just Justice League versus the government, because in that season they were talking a lot about like the moral gray areas and all this kind of stuff. So you could have it where, you know, like you said, like Amanda Waller, she keeps popping up and stuff, but like because her whole thing is like, I'm trying to be in control of everything, and we saw that a little bit. Wow, in James Gunn's The Suicide Squad,
we did.
You know, yeah, she just wants to be in charge of everything. So it's like, I'm trying to think of like an analogy, but that would be dope if she was, because when you had asked me initially, like, where would it lead? The obvious answer is like, I guess to Final Crisis or something like that, or like Crisis on Infinite Earths. But it's like, that seems kind of played out because Marvel did that already.
Exactly.
You could have her like, dang, yeah, she's just trying to acquire as much power as possible. And I haven't seen the show, but I'd imagine it like, what if Justice League was in House of Cards, where it's like the villain is this guy that's just trying to be in control of every possible thing, and like, like maybe she's even at a level higher than Lex Luthor is, and that would be like, holy shit.
Yeah, I do think if that is the route that they end up going, they should be very careful, because a lot of what people didn't like about BVS was how like political and dour it was.
Yeah.
I think because they've done the government story before, like you just said in Justice League Unlimited, where it was the Justice League versus the American government.
That's crazy.
And I think that was very good. And I think maybe a part of the reason why that was as good as it was because it didn't really get bogged down in the details.
Yeah,
it was still a superhero story, but it was just against the government.
Because even the final villain, it was Lex Luthor merged with Brainiac. So it's like,
I think they can't get bogged down in the politics.
Yeah, that's going to turn everybody off.
Exactly. If they don't have Superman go to court again, first and foremost, have it be a superhero story.
Yeah.
I think that is the most important thing that they need to basically strive for right now. Superheroes, don't think you can follow the same formula that's been going on for 14 years at this point. Try to adapt and basically just keep adapting, but also stay true to these characters. I think that is the goal.
Yeah.
That should be the goal.
Yeah, and you had mentioned it earlier. James Gunn is really good with their creative stuff. Because you and I had talked about this, I think, like a week or two ago. And when you said that, I was like, okay, you know what? Yeah, I'm with that.
Yeah.
I'm with that. The whole, just letting people be creative and like tell the stories. But, you can do that, but still keep it in line with where you want all the stories to lead. But there's a right and a wrong way to do that.
Sure. I do hope, one of my hopes for the DCU going forward, now that they have their Kevin Feige duo, I do hope they don't try to copy Feige in the way that like every movie feels like a setup for the next. I hope basically what I'm saying is I hope they learn from the MCU's mistakes. I think that was something that the DCEU didn't do, in addition to all the other things they did wrong. But
Damn.
I hope they recognize the mistakes the MCU has made and is making and is working to basically use that as a springboard to like just already start out with kind of like a head start from where Marvel started out. Even though in reality it's not a head start because it's so messy and they're picking it up after 10 years it had already begun. But just optimistically speaking. But yeah, that is our take on the DCU as of November 2022.
What's your take? Leave your comments down below.
And maybe, just maybe, in November of 2023, we can check back in and give an update on where the DCU is at.
Yeah.
But until then, this has been HeadCanon.
Bye.